So our project is on the Virginia Beach House Clean Energy Efficient Design, and I'm Sarah Petrovich, and I worked with Tommy and Carter. So for this project, we had to create two different green energy systems for our Virginia Beach home, and the two systems were photovoltaic and wind. And then we were instructed to evaluate and compare the systems and develop a system recommendation.
So the first system that we took a look at was a photovoltaic system, and you can see the energy production over time graph on the left there, and data concerning some of the initial cost analysis on the right. You can see from the graph that the energy production was higher in the summer months than in the winter months, as is to be expected. And you can see the electricity load there as well, which is much higher than the production. And then on the right, you can see some of the initial cost data, which we'll go over a little bit later in more detail.
And here's the data for the wind system that we created. On the left, once again, is a very similar graph to what Carter just showed. So in this situation, the system was generating the most energy actually in the spring and fall months compared to a little bit less in the summer. And this is kind of an issue because our electricity load was the highest in the summer where most energy was required. So that'll lead to problems. And on the right, once again, is some data from the system that the program found, which we will get into more detail in the next slide.
So for an overall cost analysis, starting with photovoltaic, our net present value calculated by the program was $369 over a 25-year lifespan. That's just due to a low capital cost and low operating costs compared with comparatively high tax incentives. As you can see from the graphs before, our overall savings and energy production are pretty low, and the savings are, only about $600 a year. But the low cost of installation is enough to offset that low production and make it viable economically.
So in contrast, the wind system had a very large negative net present value, a little over negative 20,000. And this was due to just how expensive it was to purchase and install the wind turbine, $64,000. So even though we were saving roughly 1,300 a year over the 25-year lifespan of the system, these savings were just not enough to offset the initial very high capital cost. And another area we lost money in was that there was no net metering available for the wind energy. So in those spring and fall months where we were generating more energy than needed, we weren't getting anything in return. So it was just a waste of resources and money.
After all this information and data we collected, we recommend that for a Virginia Beach home that it utilizes a photovoltaic system, and the benefits to choosing this system over a wind system are its low maintenance cost, smaller capital cost, and high comparable tax incentives.